Let's get into calculations with decimals. And here we're going to focus on adding and subtracting decimals. So adding and subtracting decimals helps us solve real world problems when we're not working with whole numbers. So think about finding change, anything dealing with money, because we talk about cents, right? 25 cents, 32 cents. So determine the total cost of something. If we're measuring a room to figure out how much paint we're going to need, very few rooms are like perfect whole numbered sizes. How far are we traveling? Very seldom do we always travel 6 miles. Oh, it's 6.2 or 6.43. So all of these things in the real world deal with decimal numbers. So how do we add and subtract decimals? Well, first we're going to line up the numbers by the decimal point. We're going to write it vertically and put those decimal points right on top of each other. We're going to insert zeros as placeholders so that the number on the top and the bottom have the same number of place values. And those zeros don't have any value, they're just placeholders. Then we're going to add or subtract just like we would normally. The decimal point is going to stay. So when you have them lined up vertically, this is part of the reason why we do it. That decimal point is just going to come down right where it was before. This might be easier looking at an example. So let's add 48.6 plus 23.46. All right, so first we're going to line up the numbers by the decimal point, right? We're going to write it vertically with the decimal point right on top of each other. You might be able to see that that first number, 48.6, only has one number after the decimal point. So we're going to need to insert a 0 after that 6, and then we're going to add. So off to the right, you can see I have 48.60 on top. Then we're going to add 23.46 directly below that. The decimal point just drops straight down, and we add. So you can either, just go straight down. 0 plus 6 is 6. 6 plus 4 is 10, so 0, carry the 1. 1 plus 8 plus 3 is 12. Got the 2, carry the 1, and we end up with a sum of 72.06. All right, let's do an application type problem. On Monday, David drank 48.6 ounces of electrolytes. On Tuesday, he drank 23.46 ounces of electrolytes. How much more did he drink on Monday? Well, first you have to decide what we're going to do in this problem. So if we think about how much more did he drink on Monday, we want to find the difference. Difference means subtraction. So we're going to line up the numbers by the decimal point, insert our zeros, and subtract. So over on the right, you see the 48.6, we add a 0, minus 23.46. The decimal point is going to come straight down, and then it's just normal subtraction. So the difference between 48.6 and 23.46 is 25.14. Again, the decimal point just straight down. And therefore, David drank 25.14 ounces more on Monday of electrolytes than he did on Tuesday. All right, let's have you try this one. A little bit more difficult. Try it. Pause the video, come back, check out the answer. Here we have 8.12 minus 11.17. Notice how we have 8 minus 11, just looking at the whole numbers. We're going to have a negative number, right? Think of this just as a whole number for subtracting integers. So we're going to put the larger number, 11.7, on the top, line up your decimal points, and subtract. So if I have 11.70 minus 8.12, I get 3.57. That's the difference between 11.7 and 8.12. But we know that 11.7 is bigger than 8.12. And because the larger number is being subtracted in our original problem, the answer has to be negative. So the difference between them is 3.58, but because 11.7, the larger number, is negative, you see the minus sign in front of it, our final answer is negative 3.58.